Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the April 22nd edition of Sports on Sunset. He's Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm James Jericho.
He's James Jericho.
And he doesn't have an original thought in his head, which is why he repeats everything.
Everything.
See? Guys, we are on Reggie's porch over at Marty's. This is where comics will show up when they don't have anything better to do and get high.
High.
Very high. The smell of the herb is pervasive. You cannot get away from it no matter how hard you try. But we're here before the place opens so we can record. So trust us. We're clean and sober. He doesn't have the munchies at all.
Not at all.
The reason we changed topics at the last minute, and that was on me. The reason for it, though, is because this is the 25th anniversary of a rather ugly event in Major League Baseball. And I'll give you a little background on why this is actually important to me personally. I used to cover minor league baseball. One night I was out in San Bernardino at Fiscalini Field. The San Bernardino Spirit was an affiliate of the Seattle Mariners who had a catching prospect. And his dad was out to watch the prospect that night. The catcher's name was Jim Campanis. His father, Al Campanis. For those of you who aren't longtime baseball fans, Al Campanis was unfortunately the leader, or I shouldn't say the leader, but was unfortunately the figurehead of one of baseball's darkest racial episodes. He was a guest on Nightline, and as the general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Ted Koppel, as an off-the-cuff question, asked why there weren't more black managers in the major leagues. And this was in the late 1980s. It was a much simpler time then. And Campanis, his answer was non-PC. And Koppel even tried to get him out of it by asking leading questions out of it. He basically said that blacks didn't have the necessities.
Oh, yeah.
And also mentioned when Koppel was trying to ask questions to lead him out, he actually dug himself deeper by using the example of, well, you know, the necessities, like how black people can't swim.
A lot of them can't.
I have a feeling I know where this is going. Look, Campanis was out of a job in about 24 hours. When I interviewed him, I met him, and I asked if I could interview him. He said, as long as we don't talk about that. That's a quote. He didn't even mention Nightline. And I really wasn't thinking about asking him a bunch of questions on Nightline because that topic had been done to death. Here's the thing. I want to start off, and I'm not, this might seem like a gotcha thing. I'm not trying to go there. What is your honest opinion about the whole Al Campanis incident?
My honest opinion?
Go for it.
It was the 80s. One.
Extrapolate, please.
Right. In the 80s, people were so high on coke that they didn't think before they spoke.
Yeah.
So that's number one.
So you're saying Al Campanis was high?
Yeah, definitely. He had to be high to say some dumb shit like that. And if he wasn't high, then I tried to give you an excuse, Al. I tried. You fucked up. Number two, was he wrong? Did black people have they weren't training black managers at the time. Not many of them anyway. You weren't being trained to be a manager. You were playing, but you weren't being trained. It's just like Pat Summitt or different coaches training their backups. Like they train their replacements while they're on the job, and they train people to get better jobs later on. Al Campanis probably didn't have a black subordinate on his team that he was training to take over his job. Right?
Okay.
So not a lot of black managers were being trained. So they didn't have the necessities, the skills to teach, to manage a baseball team, because they weren't learning it. They were learning how to play. That's number two. Number three is baseball. I'm sorry. I outside of records, it's I know the issue. The issue is should a man that's in charge
on television.
Yeah, the issue is should a man who's in charge of black players, of white players, of people's playing time. Wasn't Dusty Baker one of the people he was managing at the time as well?
Yes. Well, he was a general manager. Lasorda was the manager. Campanis the GM.
Right, but so you're in charge of black players. You should have the sense to not say something like it's a good old boys club. That's what it was back then. It was a good old boys club, and he fell into the trap of speaking his mind because that's what he learned the entire time that he was playing.
Okay.
He learned to speak his mind, and he thought that America would go for it. And they didn't, because people were so caught up in being PC. Like, hey, Martin Luther King's birthday is a holiday now.
Do you think Al Campanis is a racist?
No. I just think he's a sports guy. And people in sports talk differently than people out of sports.
He's been painted, and he's dead now, by the way.
Oh, he is? I'm sorry, Al.
Don't worry about it. We all need our maker. Well, of course, you don't believe in a maker, so whatever.
My mom and dad are makers.
What? Zing. He was a pariah because of that statement.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself to be one of the few black people who does not consider Al Campanis to be a racist? Or do black people, I hate saying it's clearly a hasty generalization, or do either A, most black people who follow baseball think Al Campanis is or is not a racist? That's a better way to phrase it.
More people probably would, because they follow baseball, and it's not, the way I look at it is this: how was the team with him as general manager?
They won a few titles, a few rings.
How about after?
They won one.
Then obviously he was doing his job.
Okay.
He was right in his evaluation of players.
I want to tell you, because he and I did not talk at all about the Nightline interview.
Okay.
He didn't even broach it. We talked more about player development. But after that, because he was a decent person to talk to, I did my background work on what the guy was like and this, that, or the other. Would you buy it if I told you that not only Al Campanis, well, it's true he may have been a part of the good old boys club and maybe that influenced thinking, but what if I told you that the vast majority of his background, he actually helped out a ton of black athletes?
I wouldn't doubt it. It's baseball. It's sports. People help each other in sports.
Al Campanis as a player was a middle infielder, and he was in the minor leagues on the cusp of going to the majors, and the Dodgers pulled him aside and said, look, we need you to teach somebody how to play second base. Penny, for your thoughts, if you can guess who the second baseman was.
Well, it wasn't Ozzie Smith, so.
It was Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay. Jackie Robinson.
He taught Jackie Robinson how to play ball. And the Dodgers also branched out internationally because of Al Campanis. Now, I'm not going to say it was completely altruistic. The Dodgers would put these camps out in Latin America, and of course, let's be frank, some of these players, these young kids, they were little kids. It wasn't entirely altruistic. These kids couldn't feed themselves. The Dodgers would feed them and teach them how to play ball. It was, I ain't saying it, let's be honest, it was slave labor in that sense, because if they were good, the Dodgers were signing them. The question that I would have, on the grand scale, does one big fuck up make you a racist? It can. Right.
It depends on what the fuck up is.
This was a nationwide incident which shook the game to its core.
It wasn't a big enough fuck up. That doesn't make him a racist. Now, it's not like he was wearing robes and burning a cross. He said some things that, to the time, were stereotypical. So, bad jokes, yes. Certainly bad jokes. Ill-timed, yes. He's not a racist because he says these things. It's just like people that make rape jokes. They're not rapists, not all of them.
I would like to, before we jump into what's on each other's brains here, here's the other thing again. I mean, I wanted to pick your brain on it, because if I came out and said Al Campanis isn't a racist.
No, I'll say it for you. He's not a racist. He was not a racist.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I said it, it'd be like, what do you know? You're white. I also think it would be interesting to find out two other things. One, what if something like that happened today? I don't think it would, because everybody has been grilled to be more PC in...
There's more money to give up to...
I'm actually... Well, not only that, I think how would it go down today? I think if it went down something like that today, I think it would be politicized immediately. I mean, there's always been punditry, but it's more extreme now. Glenn Beck... you know what I mean? Like, Glenn Beck would take one side, Keith Olbermann would take another side. It would be debated for weeks.
Look at how Rush Limbaugh was treated at the Donovan McNabb comments.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he was sort of right, McNabb kind of proved that he was right because he underachieved greatly. But, you know, it's the same thing. And I hate to say that I just supported Rush Limbaugh, but I did. It's not like he was wrong. You proved him right. You proved him right, Donovan. You proved him right.
Look, this man voted for Rod Blagojevich in the first place. He's like this close to becoming a Reagan conservative. It's just
Bob
one or two
Dole.
more.
Bob Dole.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Yeah. Tell you what, tell them what's on your mind, dude.
What's on my mind? I kind of broached it earlier. Pat Summitt is the greatest basketball coach to have ever lived. She's retired. She just retired after...
more so than Wooden.
More so than Wooden. Because, like, Wooden came to a program that was shitty. Well, sort of shitty, but he made them better. He made them great. Made them the greatest college team ever. But he also got great players to build his system on. Pat Summitt has... eight NCAA titles. She coached for more than a few decades. I just want to pay tribute to Pat Summitt. She was retired, and now they have Coach Warlick, who she trained for 27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's is a horrible disease of the mind. She has dementia, pre-Alzheimer's, and that's why she retired. This last year, she coached on and off with Coach Warlick taking duties on, like her assistants with her helping out even more so. And they were beaten in the Final Four, the Elite Eight. I can't remember. Here's the issue. People with bad memories, I forgot what I was going to talk about.
Had a baby. Well played.
He's to Pat Summitt. Great coach.
Please tell me you were just illustrating how bad Alzheimer's affects people.
I will not confirm nor deny, like I said.
Guys, this is neato. Guys, I want to talk to you about big dumb lies for a moment. Hey, there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That was a big dumb lie. Oh, James, you were great as a boyfriend. I'm sure we can still be friends. That's a big dumb lie. The Lakers are still Kobe Bryant's team. That is a big dumb lie. Look, guys, I know what I'm about to say is heresy, but I'm here to tell you, at this moment, the Lakers are in transition. You heard it here first. This is Andrew Bynum's team now. This is no longer Kobe Bryant's team. And I'm going to back it up. This is not going to be as bad as Kobe Shaq. And I'm glad that it's not going to be as bad as Kobe Shaq, because we already know how Kobe would do in a battle rap. But the Lakers are at their best when they have dominant big men. Mikan, Chamberlain, Abdul-Jabbar, O'Neal, Bynum. And I will grant you that the Lakers have had great guards, West, Johnson, and Bryant. But the reason that West, Johnson, and Bryant, their game opened up that much more when they had a dominant center. And Bryant has had the luxury now of playing with two dominant centers.
Shaq and Kwame Brown?
Yes. Look, the Lakers are not stupid. Bynum is 24, and right now, because Dwight Howard is injured, Bynum is arguably the best center in the game. Arguably. And the current Lakers streak, although Kobe has played in 2 games, sent a variety of messages when Kobe was hurt. 1, the Lakers can win without Kobe. 2, the Lakers play younger without Kobe. And 3, they play with a chip on their shoulder without Kobe because they don't have to defer to him. I think Mike Brown has had an issue all year. I think that the triangle, which they ran with Phil Jackson, the thing with the triangle, for those of you who don't follow the ins and outs of how an offense runs, the triangle forces ball movement until somebody decides to break out of the triangle and take a shot. Kobe Bryant, being a shot creator, his window of opportunity was bigger than another person in the triangle. Oh, I've got the ball. This person's 6 inches from me. I've still got a good shot. I'm Kobe Bryant. A traditional offense, which they now run with Mike Brown, must have a go-to player. Must. I think Kobe Bryant now has to face reality. Because, for example, Magic deferred to Kareem. And Magic was still Magic Johnson. He was still able to be an MVP. You look at the messages that have been sent this year to Kobe Bryant. Who were some of Kobe's closest friends on the team? Derek Fisher, gone. Lamar Odom, gone.
Sasha Vujacic.
Well, he was gone before, but still. The message was sent. They're saying, look, we can't announce this publicly, but we have got to get younger. And oh, by the way, I think what's happening is that the arguments that you're hearing about with Kobe not liking the offense and Bynum not liking the offense is Kobe is saying, I still want the ball because I'm a man, and Bynum is saying, hey, traditional offense runs through the center. I'm the man. And he's 10 years younger, and he is clearly their future. And the Lakers, they tried to make these blockbuster deals over the offseason, and was that not to get younger so that they could still be a success with Kobe gone? Look, it's the reverse. Shaq had to defer to Kobe and would not. Shaq was gone. Lakers rebuilt. And they started winning again with Kobe. If Kobe wants to be with that 6th ring, he has to acknowledge something that he heretofore is not willing to admit. He has to acknowledge he's in his mid-30s, and this is now Andrew Bynum's team.
Early 30s.
He's 34.
33.
It's mid.
33 is not mid.
Well, it's close enough. Because look, they can still win with him. They're a threat to win the title with him. Their future is the center.
I disagree, but for another time.
Of course. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I'm James.
I'm Marcelo.